Welcome to the Student Counsel podcast, an educational advice show made for students and by students, where everyone is qualified to talk about their own experiences. My name is Dvorak, and today I am so excited to be joined by an amazing, talented artist, animator, producer, director, art director, lovely person, Disney adult, Jenny McMillen. Thank you for coming on the show today. How are you?
I'm so happy to be here. Some of these are lies. I feel like I'm I guess they're all true in a technicality way, but like you definitely hyped me up.
Rightfully so. I can always cut out Disney adult if you don't want that one
Oh
out there
no,
just
Disney
yet.
adult? No, I live my truth. I am a Disney adult.
As am I. We live that world. But
No,
no,
if
no,
you
you.
saw my room back home, I have like my Disney pin collection. And I think like right before I came to college this year, I was reflecting on it and I was like, I definitely have like a couple $100 worth of Disney pins that I've collected over the years, over the
Over
years.
the
And that's
years.
only because they're really expensive. So it's not that many pins, but they're expensive.
It's not that many pins. When you spend like $40 and you get 3 pins and you're like, uh-oh. Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Disney pins are wild. But that's for a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
Anyways, Jenny, what have been your favorite 5 minutes of the past week?
I was thinking about this. I want to say like, was it Friday, the Filmic party?
It was.
It feels like time isn't real.
Time isn't
I
real now.
liked I liked that like moment where we were all just like standing around the table because like not that many people had showed up yet, and I was just queuing songs and we were all just talking and like I don't know, I just love that energy and I love just I feel like we don't get that many opportunities to just stand around and talk, so I thought it was very fun. And I also got to share some of my music, which is always fun. I love sharing music with people.
Yeah, that whole night was a lot of fun. I liked just standing around and talking. I liked the whole event. I liked walking back after and talking as well. That was a fun opportunity to just vibe. And I'm excited for you to share more music later on in this episode. So there's the
Oh,
tease.
oh yeah, slay.
Jenny, I'm curious, walk me through your college experience so far. Where did you come from? You're at University of Michigan now. What led you here all the way from California? What's it been?
It has been overall good, I'd say. I am from California. Yeah, I'm from Southern California, like Carter said. When I was applying for colleges, I was trying to decide whether to go into art or electrical engineering. And so I wasn't convinced fully that I wanted to do art. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna apply for art programs, but I wasn't like fully convinced like that I'd like it. So I applied to only one art specific school, which was Pratt, and then I applied to all other schools that had good art and engineering programs. So that's how I ended up at the University of Michigan. And when I was looking more into the University of Michigan art program, I learned that they don't have concentrations here, and that's something I wanted back then because I've always been like a mixed media artist and I like doing a bunch of different things. So when I saw that you didn't have to have a concentration, I was like, oh, that's perfect because then I can just take classes on what I want to take. And so I applied, I got in, and then I toured the campus and I just fell in love. And I love the energy here because everyone like wants to be here, which is a big difference from my high school where it felt like no one wanted to be there.
Uh-huh.
And then I came to school. Move-in was really scary. I
Yeah.
definitely had that freshman experience of like you walk in and your parents leave and you just sit there and you're like, uh-oh, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have that experience?
I did. I did in a way. My mom stuck around for like a couple days after moving, just like getting the last supplies and probably not wanting to let her kid go in a very sweet way. But I definitely remember that first night being like, oh, okay, I'm alone and this is what it's gonna be like for a while. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That,
but you live in state, right? So they
I
can
live in
visit.
state, so it's definitely different than like living across the country. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
How'd you prepare for like moving cross country? Like, what did you prep for coming from California to Michigan?
Basically, so I took the train to college. I took the California Zephyr. So for my freshman year. So I went to San Francisco to visit my grandma the week before. And so I just was like, pack whatever I can take on an airplane with my mom, my sister, and I. So my
Mm-hmm.
sister Sydney went on the train with me. And then my mom flew because she didn't want to be on a 3-day train ride, which is understandable.
Yeah.
And so I basically, the way I prepped is I just packed whatever fit in a suitcase and then we bought the rest here.
Mm-hmm.
But like mentally prep, I don't know if I mentally prepped. I was just like, woohoo, let's do this.
Yeah.
I didn't to mentally prep for the train ride. We got on the train and we were like a few hours into the train ride, and I was like, oh, 3 days is a long time to be on a train.
That is a long time to be on a train. That seems cool though. I've heard the California Zephyr is like a pretty ride. Is that true?
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah, through
Yeah.
the if you can take the Amtrak through Colorado, it's just gorgeous. It goes through the Rockies. It's the most beautiful thing ever.
Yeah, I think I did it when I was really, really young. Cause I remember being like asleep and my mom was like, woke me up and they're like, "There's mountains out the window," and I went, "Cool." But I would love to do that again. I do like a good train ride.
It's so cool. I love that.
Yeah. So you got here and then you had that kind of freshman year moment. Did you find like a moment where things kicked into gear more freshman year? You felt a little bit more settled, or when did that moment come for you?
I think like straight up the end of the year. Like
Fair.
not even the first semester, like end of the school year. For first semester, I was just freaking out the whole time. I was like, what do I do? This is
Yeah.
crazy. Especially because like when you're an art student, you have a lot of work. So I was just like, I eat, sleep, breathe art. I don't know what to do. And then I feel like a lot of people had like friend groups around me, but I never like found that like freshman year friend group. So then I was like, I don't know how you find that. I'm just doing what I can. I don't know how people have time or energy to go out every weekend.
Yeah.
Um,
The stamina of that
yeah.
is wild.
I was definitely very homesick my first semester freshman year. I would call my sisters, especially my sister Sydney, my sister Vicky a lot, and I'd call my mom almost every day, first semester freshman year. And I remember my mom, she would always hang up on me because I'd call her while I was getting lunch in between classes, and that's so I like wouldn't be talking very much. And then she'd be like, "I gotta go," and she'd hang up because I was just like, I was calling her just because I didn't know what else to do. And
Yeah.
then she was like, "This is boring."
Oh no.
Slay.
Slay. Well, it's still sweet though to keep in touch. I think it is a very valid thing to be homesick, especially a big shift like that. Like,
Mhm.
yeah. Has that subsided like this year and end of freshman
Oh
year?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say like first semester like I was calling a ton, and then second semester not so much. And like this semester, like this year, like I don't feel homesick at all.
Yeah.
It's I just you get more comfortable, I feel like, being at college, and you
Mm-hmm.
also just find people that like kind of make college home or like a second home. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm here and I'm like, I love being around all these people. So like I'd say like I was like reverse homesick over the summer where I was like, oh, I miss everyone from Michigan so much. I wish I was there.
I completely agree. I was definitely reverse homesick, and like anytime I got a glimpse of anyone from Michigan, I clung on to them. So it definitely is an adjustment to get to not being homesick. But I was just talking to Aiden about this last week, and he was saying the same thing of like you kind of have to like build up your home again at school.
It's definitely true. Like this just like it really does. I'll refer to here as home and I'll refer to like my home back home as home. Like I'll
Mm-hmm.
be like, oh, I gotta go home and I'll make be like my apartment. But like it's just a new home. You just
Yeah.
gather more homes throughout your life, I feel like.
I love that quote because I think it's very true. Yeah, that's really cool. Like, where are you at this year with everything? With your like with time at Michigan?
It's been different. It's been very different from last year. Um, last year I feel like just your freshman, you're getting to know everything. This year I went into the school year doing a lot because I'm on this I guess this is like part of like one of our questions later of like involvements in campus. But like one of my major involvements with campus is this club Filmic. I'm assuming you've talked about this before on your podcast.
Not much though. Outside of
Okay.
chatting with it with Aiden Flora, it's been new. So I'm down to dive more into filmic.
Yeah. Do you want me to just give the rundown?
Give the spiel, Jenny.
Okay, awesome. So Filmic is a production company, or I guess it's like a production club, on campus because we technically are not a company. But we make professional videos for clients as students, which is really awesome. So we make a lot of promotional videos for the university and different aspects of the university. And we also do clients outside of the university, like like Born This Way Foundation. Yeah. So we've done a ton of cool stuff, and I am on the executive board for that club. I'm the VP admin, so I send emails and tell people to go to the meeting.
Yeah.
Which has been it's been a great experience. And I this summer I was helping with the client search. And so as we were going into the school year, I was doing a lot of stuff with one of the clients that we had this past semester and also just like e-board and recruitment in general. So like going into the school year was very different than last year, I would feel like, because last year was like everything's new, what am I doing? And now
Mhm.
I'm just like came to school and just got to work, it feels like.
Yeah.
Which has been it's been good. And I really liked being in sunny Ann Arbor. I miss
S-
that.
It was fun to be in sunny Ann Arbor. I hope it. I don't think it's gonna be sunny for much longer, Jenny. But it's been good to be in sunny Ann Arbor while it's lasted.
Yeah, I think those days are over.
They might be. You never know. But I relate to you a lot. And like freshman year, it came and everything was crazy. And it's like, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I do? And I feel like this year, it's like I came back involved in a lot of things. And then of course joined things like Filmic. And now I have a lot more like really fun stuff that I get to go and do this year, which has been amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're involved in a ton of stuff, right?
Yeah, definitely am. So it's been good in a lot of ways though. It's like it's all about balancing those kinds of things, and I like everything I'm involved with, which I think makes it easy to be able to juggle it all. What was your perception of Michigan? Maybe even before, like you mentioned on your campus tour, you saw the liveliness and the energy, but like when you came here, like what did you really notice about Michigan's culture and overall vibes?
When I was touring.
Touring and then as a student, like was there any discrepancies there?
I don't know. I didn't really have any I didn't come like when I was applying to college straight up barely did my research. I didn't really know anything about UMich. I didn't realize that it was like this incredible great university until I was one of the few people in my grade who got in.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, because there was this guy in my school who like that was like his dream school, and then I remember like I felt bad that I got in and he didn't, especially because I want to do art. So I was like, this is silly. But I like came to campus and I remember I was like, one, like campus is big.
Yeah, it really
And
is.
the culture, like everyone just like was friendly and it was cold. I toured in February. So it was
Yeah.
like me and my mom, we were shivering in the cold. It was 10 degrees the day of my tour. I couldn't feel my toes.
No way.
But I loved Ann Arbor a ton. And then I think especially something that really set in stone that I wanted to go to Michigan was I toured Belmont and Nashville right after, which is like a much smaller school. And it was so small and like there were barely any students around. And I was like, nah, like I need the energy of this big campus, especially after like the school I went to in high school was pretty small. My graduating class was like 120 people and we were the largest grade. So I definitely needed a big school and I just loved like the energy. And then coming here, like now as a student, I'd say it's like it's better than I imagined, student wise. I mean, I'm in stamps. I'm in the art and design school here. And like, I really love my classmates and I love going to class and talking with them. And I love Filmic, obviously. So
Yeah.
I love the energy on campus and I like the sports culture, even though I'm not directly involved with it because I've been to a football game. I like being somewhere where it feels like everyone wants to be there.
I really like how you phrase that, and I completely agree. I think it's really special to be somewhere that people are excited and care a lot about in a positive way. I'm curious, like, what's the inside scoop on stamps, on the culture, like, of the students at stamps? What's that like? Maybe some of your perceptions of some of the academics of it. Like, I just feel kind of on the outside of stamps, and I'm curious to hear more. Like, the day to day. What is your
Yeah.
day to day in stamps?
My day to day. So I have the unfortunate experience of having 8:30 a.m.s 4 days a week. So
Yikes.
I wake up every day between like 6 and 6:30 because it takes me a bit to feel alive in the morning and
Mm-hmm.
to like eat breakfast and stuff. So I wake up early and then I hop on the bus, which is the bus stop is like a 5-10 minute walk away. And then I come to class, and then usually all of us are tired because it's
Yeah.
an 8:30 a.m. class. But the students I've met we all come from different places. I mean, mostly Michigan because that makes sense. It's
Mm-hmm.
mostly people from Michigan, but there's also people from everywhere. And it's just that creative vibe. I don't know. I in high school I had friends that were all artists, and like I just like being friends with fellow artists. I love seeing the way that other people see the world. So it's a lot of just work, and you see your friends, like your fellow classmates work, and you just hype each other up. And you get to be surrounded by people who are creating. Yeah, and it's small class sizes, so you really get to know your peers, which is cool. But the academic side of things, your freshman year, you take all foundations courses, and I actually liked a majority of my foundation courses, mostly because I feel like I got some good teachers. I got some good teachers. Stamps is really about the teachers that you get.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, there's also a lot of bad teachers at Stamps, which sucks, especially for art.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my freshman year, first year, like first semester, I had 3D, drawing 2D, or like, yeah, something like that, drawing 2D. Wait, was it that? Yeah, I think it was drawing 2D. And then I had drawing observation. And I really loved drawing observation because you would just go to class and you would draw. So there would just be like a still life setup, or there'd be a model, or sometimes you're drawing like yourself, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd just go there and draw, and the teacher would walk around as you all are working and then give you like advice as you're working on the piece and like teach you as you're going. Sometimes you'd have presentations at the beginning of the class. And I just love that. That's my favorite way an art class can be set up. It's been the most helpful for me when classes are set up that way because your critique is kind of happening as you're working on it, so you can still make those changes. And it also, you just learn. You learn like when you're getting advice as you go.
Yeah.
My 3D class was fun, but like I didn't like I mean my I don't know, like it was just kind of like playing around with like sculpture and also wood like carving, or I guess like wood shop stuff. So that was just fun for like experimenting and playing around. And then I hated 2D. I had a teacher that was a last minute hire, and she was very bad, and she gave us extremely time consuming projects, but would assign them in a very short time span. And she also didn't teach.
Oh
So
no.
I remember specifically one project, we had to do this one piece. We had to draw a mobile. We had to design like a baby mobile.
Oh
And
yeah.
she kept saying like it's 2D perspective, like it's 2 point perspective. And then one, she didn't teach us how to do perspective. So I was like, how do I do this?
Yeah.
And then she wouldn't explain it. And then the thing is, with what we were doing, it would have been 3 point perspective too. So that's she was telling us the wrong things, and she wasn't teaching us even how to do the original thing that she was talking about. So that was not good. And so that was like my first bad experience with a teacher, I'd say, at Stamps. And then this semester I'm taking intro to animation, visualizing and depicting ideas, and figure drawing. I love figure drawing. It's the same setup as observation where you just go to class and you draw, and the
Mm-hmm.
teacher walks around and gives advice and sometimes gives presentations. And I've been growing so much quicker. Like I've just been growing very quickly through that class. And also I love my teacher, and I love like just creating and like learning through that way. And then intro to animation, we have barely been taught, if at all, which has been
That's tough.
very stressful. Yeah, it's tough to try to animate when you aren't taught. So we've been like kind of learning the programs, but still like very surface level. And then also she was like teaching us the programs before teaching us how to animate. So it took us like I think 8 weeks to learn a principle of animation. And there's 12 principles of animation.
Oh boy.
Uh, yeah, so we didn't learn anything till 8 weeks in, and it was because a professional artist had come in to teach our class. And then that class has also been frustrating just because she hasn't been giving us studio time to work. So the way Stamps is set up, all the classes are 2 hours long because the idea is that they're studio classes. So you go in and you work on your projects in class. But two of my teachers this semester don't give us time to work in class. So we have to do the projects all outside of class. And they're very time consuming projects. So that's been really rough, especially because the class is also at 8:30 a.m. So it's like
Yikes.
it's just exhausting.
Yeah.
And then I'm taking visualizing and depicting, which is like intro to illustration. And that class, it's just the main problem is it's a ton of work. It's so much work. She gives you like mini assignments and projects, and she'll assign the next project while you're working on your current project. and you're like expected to have sketches for your next project while you're still working on your current project. And she doesn't give us studio time to work. And that class has been an extreme stressor for me. And she doesn't really teach. So it's more like you're just given assignments. It's not like she's teaching us like different like illustration styles or like teaching us composition or something like that. Like it's just been assignments. Yeah. Oh, and then
Yikes.
second semester classes last year was 4D, which is like intro to like computer based art, I guess, like video, audio, performance, and then we did stop motion. So it was like different types of like art that aren't like fine art. And then I had drawing visualization, which is like they teach you how to like draw stuff from your brain. So like they teach you perspective in that class and like how to design objects and stuff. And then I can't remember the last one I took. Oh, methods of inquiry, which is like you're supposed to like learn how to like do a self-guided project.
Yeah.
And I liked 4D. They're all like those ones were all just foundation classes, so they're fine. It really depends on the teacher you have.
Yeah, it really depends. That's a bummer that it depends on the teacher that much. That's always really unfortunate. Like, it's hard when you have, like, they all seem like fascinating concepts and really cool stuff to learn about. But if you don't have the right teacher, then you're not really either one, learning, or two, learning it well. And that's just tough.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's
Yeah.
hard because a lot of the times that's the only teacher that teaches the class, or there's like a section offered of the class.
That was the other thing I was curious about. Is there ways to kind of go around that? Is there like rate my professor, or their student? Like, is it just kind of word of mouth at stamps? Like, take this one, don't take this one. But is it a problem that it exists more in the core courses, so it's just hard to like avoid?
It is, it's a bunch of different things. So sometimes there's only a teacher that teaches a class. So it's like if you want to take that class, or like if you want to take an upper level class, but you have to take this prereq, and then that teacher is the only one that teaches the prereq. That's kind of part of it. There is like Rate My Professor. It's a lot of word of mouth. A lot of these teachers have been around for a while. And so they aren't really gonna leave. They're not gonna change them. It's really just kind of, there's no real choice. And Stamps doesn't offer that many courses. So, like, they're not offering that many next semester. So, me and like every Stamp student I know is struggling to backpack classes because it's like, well, the two studios you wanted to take, they're offered a section and it's at the same time. So, you have to pick one and then find another one. And then they're also like not offering that many 300 level classes. My friend Maddie, you know Maddie Leia,
Yeah.
who's in Filmic. She, one of the classes she wants to take, they're just straight up not offering the prereq for it next semester. So and she needs to graduate next year. So she has to take that class. And so she's like just emailing the teacher to be like, can I take this class with her and the prereq? Because like they're just not offering it.
That's
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
it's not great.
Yeah, I hope there can be some improvement on that front. Like, I really hope that Michigan is known for so many great departments and so many great schools. And I hope that, it could give the love to its art and design school that maybe some of the other ones get as well.
Yeah, that's the hope, but they haven't really been listening to students, which is unfortunate. A lot of students have voiced their complaints, and they either make it sound like, oh, that's the student's problem, or they just ignore it. They'll be like, yeah, and then not do anything.
I wish that there could be like a student advisory board or something for SAMPs, like some way of utilizing, listening to, and incorporating student feedback into the curriculum.
Yeah.
Would be nice.
That would be nice, yeah.
It's unfortunate. I'm glad still that you have some good experiences in filmic and things like that. And let's just dive into filmic more. I'm curious, how did you find out about filmic? Like, how'd you join the org, and like, what was that journey? What's that journey been?
I love filmic.
Yeah, right.
So I was I was walking around campus like after I'd moved in to like find my classes, and at this time I was like enrolled in a ancient Turkey history class.
Right.
And which was in Angel Hall. So I was walking into Angel Hall from the Diag entrance, so I guess Mason Hall.
Yeah.
And on the side of the wall was written "Join Filmic" in chalk, and I was like, I like movies.
Yeah.
That's literally my thought process. I saw that chalk, and then I saw the posters around campus, and I was like, I like movies, so I guess I'll just like look into this. And then I went on the website and I saw that they were looking for art directors, and and I want to be an art director. So like when I was going into college, I was like, I want to be an art director on music videos. That was my thing. And so I even wrote that in my Filmic application. But I was like, I want experience art directing. This looks super cool. I honestly knew nothing about Filmic when I applied.
Hmm.
I had no clue what it was really. I just knew they needed art directors, so they made videos. And
Yeah.
so that was cool. And then that was just in my head. And then I got COVID that first week of school. So I was actually in quarantine for the first week of classes. And I dropped that turkey class because I was like, I can't do this.
No.
But when I had left quarantine, there was like a few days before applications were due. And like on that day that applications were due at 9 p.m. at night, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna apply. Because at first I was like, I'm not even gonna get in. Like, what's even the point? And then 9 p.m. that night, I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Let's just try. And so
Yeah.
I remember I was typing it up and I was like sending my sister the doc to like edit my essay answers, like my interview or whatever the questions were, like to edit my answers as I was typing them up. And then I turned it in at 11:59.
No way.
Yeah, so that was crazy. And I was over the moon when I got an interview. I was like, that's crazy. I had no, that's wild. Whoa. Um
Yeah.
and I on my interview, oh, this is like it's such a fond memory.
Hmm.
We okay, so I made my case the night before. So in for everyone who's listening, the
Yeah.
context is when you apply to Filmic, there's two rounds. There's the like application round where you just answer some questions and submit some creative pieces, and then there's the interview round. So if you make it to the interview round, you have to do an interview, and then you also have to put together a case for like a fake client that we give you. So my year, it was the Dawn Treader. You also did this
I
one,
also did
actually.
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the fake client was the Dawn Treader, which is like a bookstore in Ann Arbor. And the night before, I remember like I finished at midnight my case. Lots of midnight
Lots of midnight. Lots
things.
of down to the wire for Jenny
Yeah.
McMillen.
And so I made a storyboard, a character sheet, which was like just right next to the storyboard, and I made a slideshow.
No
And
way.
it was so fun. I was so scared, like when I entered in my interview, because I remember I walked in and like one of my friends from art school was sitting on the bench outside the case room, and I was like, oh no. And I was like,
Oh
oh
no.
hey, what are you doing? And she was like, I'm have my interview for Filmic. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And so that also like made me super nervous because I was like, oh, I'm literally like, this is real. Like that's so weird to like, I'm like, this is a whole process. And then I did my interview, which was really, I think it went well. They had me like because I had like my storyboard rolled up because I did it traditionally. I did it on paper, and they're like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Oh, this is part of my case." And then like as I was leaving my interview, and then they're like, and they had me like unroll it, and then they all were like, "Whoa!" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, cool." And like I was like, "What's going on? This is exciting." They seem to like it. Um, and then I did my case, and I remember I took up all the time. Like I finished, and then it was over. Like they like done. Your time is up. And then I remember as I was exiting, I was like, it sounded like they just cheered, and I didn't know if that was for me or the person who had entered, like who was like about to go in or something. But I was like, that's crazy. But then because they were like, we'll get back to you tomorrow. And I was like, okay. And so the next day, I'm just waiting like the whole day. For like to see if I got in, and I didn't get an email, and I was like, okay. And so it was like 11:30 at night, and I was about to go to bed. I'm like, okay, I guess I just didn't get in. It's not meant to be, like that's okay. And then right like the last time I was checking my phone before I get to bed, the email pops up and it says welcome to Filmic. And I literally screamed, and like my
Yeah.
roommate who was like, because I was in the dorms, just like what? And I was like, I got it to Filmic, and it was like it was so exciting. That was just like a moment because I was like accepting the fact that I didn't get in, and then I got in, and the recruitment party, like that was such a fun night, and
Yeah.
then just everything from there on, it was just awesome. Um, like I genuinely like I say like, oh, Filmic has changed my life, but it genuinely has. It's made me so much more confident, and
Mm-hmm.
I love everyone like in it. Just like confident in like so many different ways, like as a person, like sorry, like who I am, in my creative ability, I guess, in my professional ability.
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely way more shy and quiet last year. If you can imagine that, especially because like being a newbie, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, it is hard to imagine, Jenny. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I just in the way that you are now, like a quiet Jenny McMillen doesn't line up.
Yeah. It definitely I've gotten so much more comfortable just being myself,
Yeah, that is
which
amazing.
has been awesome this year. Yeah, and then my project I worked on first semester freshman year was the Sweetland Center for Writing,
All right.
and that was really fun. And I love art directing, and I love just like filmic in general. It is just a joy, and I had so much fun and making the recruitment video, the recruitment party, the not the recruitment. Well, the recruitment party was so fun because I was like, "What's going on?" Because like I didn't go out like freshman years. Wait, what's going on? I thought this was like a film club. I thought it was gonna be like quiet and chill.
Yeah, filmic is definitely not quiet and chill in the best ways possible, and I love it for it.
I know. I thought that night because they told us to wear professional clothes. I thought that
Yeah.
we were gonna have our first meeting, and so so when it was a party, I was like, "What's going on?"
I'm not gonna lie, Jenny. I thought we were taking headshots. The first night, I'm like, oh, I guess this is where you get your filmic headshot. Like that's fun.
I love that.
I love that too. It's so fun. Like it's a
Yeah.
thrilling club. It's amazing, and I've seen like it's amazing your confidence, the way that you lead and really show initiative in film. Like it's amazing, Jenny.
Thanks.
Uh, no, it's such a special org on campus. Like I love all of it,
Mhm.
just all of it.
And the type of people it attracts is like it's just so awesome.
Yeah, because it's a type of people where it's like everyone is so diverse, right? Like there is
Hmm.
no kind of duplicate or similar person in the club, and yet at the same time, I feel like everyone gets along so well.
Yeah, it is. It is so special. Yeah, and it's cool that you can like be in the club no matter like you're not. A lot of us aren't film majors. Like neither of
Yeah,
us are. And I was saying like before I came to school, I wasn't considering film at all. And like now I'm super like, oh, maybe I want to do like stuff in the film industry in the future because
yeah.
I've loved this so much. It's very interesting how life works that way.
It's fascinating how it all goes. Yeah, it's like Zane's a physics major and a writer and now a director. Like, it's crazy. It's like it's cool that it's open to people outside the film industry. And it reminds me of a point you made earlier about Filmic, which I think kind of goes to a lot of different things, which is like when you applied, you didn't know about Filmic, you just knew they needed an art director. And I think sometimes that helps a lot in like in applying to things and joining things. Because I think sometimes when you get in your own head about like the club itself or the school itself, it makes it almost harder for you to look like you can only think of like you can't talk about your value add as much because you are just like so focused on like I want this school and I want to do like broad based. So, like if you look at it nichely like that, like you need an art director, I can art direct, let's link in, like there we go. I think it's a better way of looking at it sometimes.
To be fair, it was a bit more risky than that because I was like, I have no experience art directing, but I really want to be an art director, and I actually know what an art director does, which is it's crazy how much knowing what an art director does like contributes to your chances of getting into filming.
No, it so does. All of those role team. If you know what your role team does, like you're locked in. I remember my first
Yeah.
year, they said, "What does a producer do?" And I went, you ever heard of a clock? You know how there's gears in a clock? The producer's the middle gear. That was what I
No
said.
way.
Yeah, I got it
You're
down,
not
but
wrong.
I'm not wrong, but I maybe shouldn't have been shooting off the hip as much as I was. But you know what? All things are meant to be, and it wound up working out in the way that it did. And
Yeah.
now we're here. Yeah, Jenny, I want to ask you some of the fun, general questions I love to ask everybody on the podcast. And I want to start with, what is the most impactful piece of advice that somebody's given to you?
The most impactful piece of advice. This one's like kind of sad, but it like works out. I when I quit cross country the second time. My my favorite coach, because I had to tell her like in person, and because it was the second time, she said, "Don't make quitting a habit." And it's like it's tough to hear, obviously, because you're like, well, I didn't plan on it.
Yeah,
But
right.
like it's definitely a piece of advice that I hold dear. It's like I don't want to be like a quitter, and that was like the first time I had really like ever quit at something in my life. Technically the
Yeah.
second if you consider it, but the first time it was like, oh, it's COVID.
Yeah.
Second time it was definitely like I can't do this. But I think like yeah, don't make quitting a habit. Just like try your best and like I mean obviously don't be afraid to like stop something that is making you unhappy.
Yeah.
But I think there is definitely a value in sticking things through.
I think there is, and I think there's a value in kind of, and sometimes you don't know until you try. So I think still, if the choice is to try or not to try, and you don't know, I'd say try. But I think that there's a value to like really thinking things through too before jumping into it. You know, it's such a balancing act of like jump into stuff, see what happens, but also like sometimes if you stop and think about it for like 10 more seconds, you realize, oh, maybe this isn't the thing for me, and then you don't have to quit it down the line. But yeah.
I mean, you know me, I'm an overthinker. I think
Same.
every single route that could possibly happen.
Yeah, you know, it's balancing that with jumping into things, and you know, sometimes it just happens like that. But I do like that quote as a whole. Do you have an ultimate tip for somebody going into college?
I can give the advice that my sister Sydney gave to me, which is always say yes. Like if you can, like obviously, like don't say
Mm-hmm.
yes to drugs, but like if someone invites you to hang out, like say yes. And then if you're gonna go do something, invite someone. Like for that freshman year experience. It's like if you're gonna go do something, invite someone to tag along. If someone's going out, invite yourself.
I love
um,
that.
say yes.
Say yes. I invited myself to Patrick's Thanksgiving dinner. Patrick Lee in Filmic. Like not his
Wait,
family, but like in the dining hall. I was like, he's like, hey, can you like swipe me in? And I'm like, yeah. And then I just kind of looked at him. He looked at me. He's like, I guess you want to eat with us? I'm like, yeah. And that was a lot of
was
fun.
that yesterday or
That
like
was like
last
last
week?
week Thursday.
I went to the dining hall. I went to the dining hall Thanksgiving also.
Were you in South or
No,
what
I went to
dining hall?
Bursley. It wasn't actually that good, but it wasn't bad either. It was decent.
There we go. It was
Yeah.
decent. Yeah,
How was
but
yours?
it was, I would say again, it was pretty good. Mac and cheese, I think, was solid. That was like
Mm.
the highlight for sure. Wait, do you have a favorite Thanksgiving food, Jenny? Like if you had to pick?
Oh, I've always loved like the like Jello cranberry thing.
Oh,
But my favorite is like the leftover sandwich where it's turkey stuffing and then the cranberry sauce. That's my
agreed.
favorite.
I love turkey stuffing. Leftovers is so special. I honestly, the Jello things always scared me as a kid. The Jello with like the nuts and the cranberries inside of it. But I would love to try it. I remember I did try it one year and I enjoyed
It's
it.
the type that specifically doesn't have the nuts and the cranberries in
Oh, then yeah, that's awesome. I do love that stuff.
it.
For sure. Jenny, I don't ask this question to everybody, but I need your opinion. If mashed potatoes is your favorite Thanksgiving food, is that a red flag?
No, that's a green flag. I love mashed potatoes. Actually,
Really?
if you asked me that as a child, that's what my favorite would have been. I love mashed potatoes. I remember there's like a year where we weren't gonna have mashed potatoes, and I was like, no, I'm not allowing that. And then I made them myself.
You've made them that's wild. That's
So
amazing.
am I a red flag?
Okay. No, you're not a red flag. But here's what my story is. A year ago, I toured a company in Detroit, and in the office, on the wall, was a March Madness style Thanksgiving food bracket. I might have been 32. It might have been 32 Thanksgiving sides, all vying for the top position. And when I saw the top one was mashed potatoes, I said, "This tells me all I need to know about this company." And I said, "Okay, like I don't know, all of the food, like."
Dude, mashed potatoes are so good.
But like, what's sweet potatoes? Sweet potatoes are on the table.
Oh,
Stuffing is on the table.
true.
Like, you know, everything else is also on the table. I love good mashed potatoes, but I don't know. I don't
I'm
know.
just
I've been
such a big
curious.
fan.
I guess it's just interesting. I just if a company identified as mashed potatoes, I think I'd be like, I don't like that. I don't know.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving?
I would lean. I love a good stuffing, and like little gravy like on top of it. Like that's beautiful. Or like a nice
Yeah.
kind of whipped sweet potato. Those are delightful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always in the pies too. Like the food, the sweets is great. Like a good pumpkin pie, a
Yeah.
fun
I love
dessert.
pumpkin pie. What's your favorite pie?
Ooh, I feel like I love a good apple. I made a blueberry basil pie when I was a kid, and that was really good. Maybe I'll have to bring that one back out of the into the world again. That was really fun. How about you?
Cherry. I love cherry pie.
Yeah, good cherry pie as well is delightful. A la mode, right? Like a good with the ice cream. Yes. Like,
Let me get this right.
let me get the sound right. A la mode, yeah? Like, we on the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
page.
I love a la mode, but like I'll take cherry pie straight up.
True, true. Good pecan pie too. Like a really good one is
Key lime
nice.
pie?
Oh yeah, I said pecan, but now I'm thinking key lime pie. I just love pies, Jenny. I think that's what I'm
Yeah,
coming to
pie is
this.
just good.
Pie is really good. I don't know if people know about this, but
Guys, hear me out. Pie.
listen to me, listen to me. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, you heard of this pie? I think we all got to get on board with this.
Next big thing. Pie.
Like, I think this is the next thing since cake.
Since
Is
pie.
pie. Is pie. I'm excited for it.
Anyway.
Yeah. No, I mean that's really like indie food. It's called pie. I don't know. It's like you probably haven't heard of it.
Indie food. The indie food companies.
You in on the indie food scene? Anyways, Jenny, what's a dorm room essential item?
I was gonna say slippers and shower shoes. You don't want your feet touching those floors.
Never. No, slippers is great. I think because this podcast enlightened me to shower shoes. Actually, it was like guest number
No,
4.
no,
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 no.
no,
I,
no.
I was a senior in high school. So I had not. Like in the midst of my packing, I started asking this question, and like one of the first responses was shower shoes, and I went, "That's a really good idea, yeah." So
Okay, I thought you meant last year you didn't use shower
no,
shoes.
thank the Lord, no, God, no. Oh no, that'd be scary. But I agree with these slippers too. A nice like cozy slippers that you can kind of wear out and about, like a good slip-on shoes if you need to.
Ones
just
that
like
have like a decent amount of like tread or whatever, so you can like wear them to the dining hall if you don't feel like putting on real shoes.
and just sometimes I do that, and I hope I don't get recognized from like tour groups, and sometimes I do get recognized. And then it's like, okay.
I just wear my pajamas to the dining hall and call it a day.
It's so fun to do that though. It's so, especially I remember last year all the time.
Yeah.
Like I go in my pajamas and I get that waffle, like the Michigan waffle,
The
and
Michigan waffle.
and I'd like put like Nutella on it, and I would just be so happy, and then I'd eat it and I'd immediately feel just the worst you could possibly feel.
College is a humbling experience.
It really is. You learn a lot. But speaking of food, I'm curious, what's your favorite dining hall on campus, and then your favorite like restaurant in Ann Arbor?
Ooh, my favorite dining hall is Bursley. Unpopular opinion.
That's
but
wild.
Bursley slaps. If you don't live at the dorm, so like if you don't live at Bursley and it's not the one you're eating all the time, it's a great dining hall. It slaps. My favorite Ann Arbor restaurant, I can say coffee shop. I can't really say restaurant. I don't really know. My favorite coffee shop is Comet Coffee in Nichols Arcade.
Okay.
I love that coffee shop. It's great coffee. The people are really nice, and it's in Nichols Arcade, so you have a reason to hang out at Nichols Arcade, which is the best place.
It is. I need to explore more in Nichols Arcade actually. Like it's the one area I feel like I've been overlooking.
Yeah.
So
It's one alleyway, so it's pretty easy to do.
it's pretty doable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Comet Coffee seems fun too.
Second coffee chat? Oh.
I think let's do it. Does Nichols Arcade have a basement?
Coffee chat number 2. Yeah, let's get Comet Coffee and find a basement.
I think that's a great plan.
No context. We're giving no context to that. Next
I was
question.
about to say that might be the stinger. Like that might be the quote I use for promoting this.
I love a good basement. Next question.
What's a moment from high school that you still think about?
It's not a specific moment, but I would actually, you know what? I'll give a specific moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
My sophomore year, we had a new art teacher, and for context, my freshman year, sometimes I'd eat lunch in the art room just because, like, sometimes you just don't feel like eating outside because we have outdoor schools in California. Um, yeah, so we'd eat lunch outside. We had a new art teacher, and I went in the second day of school, and I said, I used to eat lunch in here. Can I eat here? And she said, okay. And we ate in silence in the art room. Anyway, she's such a mentor for me, and like I still keep in touch with her to this day. But that was really funny, especially because I didn't remember it was the second day of school. I thought it was the second week of school. And then as I was graduating, we were reminiscing, and she's like, just, you came at the second day of school to eat in the art room. And I was like, oh, that's bad. I gave up on socializing so quickly my sophomore year.
That's so funny. The second day of school. I mean, that's special though. Like I love that story. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And now you have a great mentor out of it. They're so
Exactly.
valuable. Yeah. Now, Jenny, finally we get back to your music and the chat about music, languages. I have to ask, what song would you add to a school survival playlist?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna scroll through my 3,000 plus song playlist and see
Your
if there's
7 days
anything
long
good.
Spotify playlist?
Yeah, school kind of fills me with rage, so I feel like I have to find one that's like relatively full of rage.
That's
But
generally the vibes I've been getting.
from just school.
Just like from this
Sorry.
playlist. No, from like what this playlist has become. It's
Oh,
definitely
mine.
like, no, not yours. Like I ask everyone this question, so I build a school survival
Oh,
playlist. So I have just, I think we're almost at 50 songs now. It's over 3 hours long, but it's a lot of like, there's just a lot of like, if you read the song titles in order, it like tells a really interesting story about the student experience.
I love that. I don't know. One that has been defining my school experience. I can't think of which song has enough rage in it.
That's another quote I'm
Um,
using.
I think like the one that has, I think the song that has, I identify the most with right now. This isn't even like a school survival thing, but this is a song that I just found beginning of this year, so technically beginning of last semester, and I really love is Canto I by Lay Loop. It's a weird song. It's gonna totally mess up the vibes of your playlist, and I played it on the ride home from Filmic Retreat last year, and the car ride was silent, and then Serpentine and I went, "What the fuck is this?"
Wait,
Because it is not a. I ruined the vibes. But yeah. But it's like it's a folky song, I guess. I really love it. I showed it to Natalie and she likes it. So basically, I have great taste. No, I'm joking. But I just really love that song. It's kind of a weird song, but I really like experimental music, so that's why. But
it's a little bit like Minecraft music.
what?
A little bit.
Okay, that is not a representation of what that song sounds like. That is a lie. It is no way. Are you listening to the right song? Show me
This
the
one?
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Is there lyrics to it or no?
Barely. There's like some spoken word parts over it, but it's mostly just the sound. Yeah, it is. The reason I said that is because like I feel like this song kind of like it's shown like a shift in my music taste. Not really though, because I still listen to music from 3 years ago that I liked, and I still like it. But it's like I really love that music, and it's kind of it's so different from what I would have listened to in high school. And I feel like it's college Jenny music, if that makes sense.
College Jenny music. That's fun. This list is. I'll send you this playlist because I feel like you'll just think it's so. Like these songs are funny. Just
I'm
like
excited.
the mishmash of it all is wild. But
Yeah, that's like my regular playlist.
I kind of feel like it mimics that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jenny, the last question I have to ask: what would you tell your freshman self in high school and your freshman self in college?
I would tell freshman me in high school, to both care more and care less. I feel like there was things I should have cared more about that I didn't care enough about, and I think there's things that I cared too much about, like other people's opinions of me. That doesn't matter. And I wish I cared more just about like I wish I another piece of advice I give to freshman year me is to I don't know. I mean, I honestly like, yeah, I guess care more, care less about. It depends on what the topic is. And then freshman me in college, I don't know because I don't really have any regrets because it's like part of me wants to be like look into other art schools earlier, but another part of me is just like I've loved being here and I have no regrets being here. And freshman me in college, maybe just be more involved, I guess. But honestly, I don't really have any regrets.
That's good. I feel similarly. I think it's funny I asked this question because I feel like I would respond like, I don't know, it all happened because it happened and now I'm here. So like I don't need to mess anything up on the
Exactly.
timeline. Yeah. So Jenny, that brings us to the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for
Yay!
talking. What do you have to plug, share, promote, send the people to? List it all.
I have nothing as of now. I mean, I guess you could, this is kind of silly, I guess you can follow my art Instagram, which is ginger_Jenny_. There's a story behind that username. I know it's cringe, but it's because it's in honor of middle school me. So I guess that, and then I'll let you know if I ever make a website.
Amazing. I'll link to Filmic as well so you can see all the
Yeah.
fun stuff that they're doing over
Yeah.
there. And maybe not by the time this comes out, but down the line, hopefully you'll see in the description some other cool stuff that we did this semester that we can't talk about just yet. But hopefully we can unpack in a future podcast or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We could have just a filmic episode.
Oh, so many Filmic episodes. Like
Yeah, are there more filmic members you're planning on
all
interviewing?
of them, Jenny. All
Oh,
of them.
who's
Eventually, right?
next?
I don't know. That's a good question. So far it's just you and Aiden Flora. Maddie Wilson's
I
top of
love
the list.
love that.
Jake Jor would be a lot of fun.
That'd be so fun. Both of
Riley,
those.
both of
And
all
Riley,
like
yeah. Just
all,
e-board.
yeah, this I honestly really thought about making all of my Coffee Chats podcast episodes. Like, but then I was like, maybe not. Maybe not just off the bat. But yeah, there's so many people. Nat, Zane, Paul, like Marcus, Lola. That's too many to count.
I
Yeah.
love that. You should do Marcus and Lola at the same time.
That would be adorable, wouldn't it?
That'd be so cute.
I would love that. That's you're giving me good ideas, Jenny. Maybe we should make a podcast together.
Oh my.
Oh my. Um,
Wink wink.
wink. Anyways, until next time, Jenny,
Yes.
thank you so much for
Thank
being on
you
the
so
show
much for
today.
having me on.
It's been so fun. And listener, thank you for listening to another episode of the Student Council. I have been Carter Dvorak. That has been Jenny McMillen. Jenny, any final parting words before we head out?
College is awesome, but it's school. Yeah. And you're gonna love it and get involved. It's great. And Carter is amazing. So if you become friends with Carter in the future, good decision.
Good decision. Thank you, Jenny. The same goes to Jenny. Good decision if you want to be friends with Jenny. Like, would recommend. You will get a good return on your investment. It's great. Yeah. Anyways, if you want to find us on the podcast, slay. Our Instagram is @SukoPod. Our email is sukopod@gmail.com. My Instagram is, I think, CarterDL. I could be I think it's just Carter Dvorak, all one thing. So if you want to be friends with me, that's a way to start. Anyways, wishing you the best of luck and the best of times in all of your educational endeavors. The Student Council is adjourned. And we made a podcast.
Yay!